There we go.
How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, live from St. Cloud, Florida, here with my guys, Mr. Ryan Shedd, upstate New York. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Doing great.
Down below, Mr. Idris, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. And a nice little sports day ahead of us, not just in the NFL realm. Hard to believe that my New York Yankees, our New York Yankees, we're all Yankee fans here, are actually still alive.
Yes.
I really wish they would have made these call-ups a couple of weeks earlier. I think they would apply more pressure. But with 6 games remaining against the Toronto Blue Jays, a wrap-up series against the Kansas City Royals, a pivotal game in Pittsburgh today. I bet nobody said that since Colangelo in 1960 led Bronx Tale movie.
Yeah.
But the point is, the Yankees are not dead. And while I still think it's a long shot, I must admit that my interest is actually a little bit back on them just to see if they could actually pull off the improbable. Because every year in Major League Baseball, it seems like we always see this story happen at least once, where one team gets stupid hot after playing mediocre ball for most of the year, and they
Philly.
sneak in. Right,
Philly,
Washington. we have definitely seen it over the years, and like anything else, I'm not going to absolve the Yankees from the utter frustration. I know Shedd and I, time and time again on this show, as well as you and I, Idris, have shared our frustrations about the mediocrity and the direction of the team. But I must admit, since kind of filtering in some of the young talent, it's unfortunate what happened with Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
But
Tommy John.
yeah, it sucks, dude. At least he's not a pitcher. But the thing is, there's a better energy around this team that I think they're going to carry into 2024, whether or not they make the playoffs. I would just like to see what they could do if they get in. And, they might have that opportunity because I certainly don't think that the way the Texas Rangers or the Toronto Blue Jays are playing right now is like a lock to keep us away. The Rangers have been crumbling gradually. And even if they back into the playoffs, it's something. But basically, I guess my path for the Yankees is I don't necessarily think you got to win out, but you got to win about 90% of the remaining games. And I don't necessarily think that's impossible. I mean, yes, the Yankees have done this before. And it's going to come down to those 6 games with the Jays. I think if the Yankees could manage to take 4 out of 6, ideally 5 out of 6, I do believe that it could go down to the final week and it'd be very interesting. And, of course, you also have to account for the Seattle Mariners, who have a damn good team in their own right.
I think I'm happy with what I'm seeing because I thought it was over. I was like, these guys.
I just want competitive baseball that doesn't make you want to vomit. Dude, if we don't make it this year in the playoffs, I can live with that. It's football season anyway.
See, that was my thing. I wanted us to look good, at least be competitive. I didn't want us to leave in finish last place. I was like, I could not live with the Red Sox being above us. But to see us go in there, beat Boston, and do it, and then we got Pittsburgh today. I mean, it's like, all right, we may not make this playoffs, but at least we'll look respectable. We'll finish.
Right.
We're finished. And the Mets, you know how I feel about the Mets.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I know how I feel about the Mets. Seeing the Mets the way they are, it's even better.
Oh, no doubt, dude. No doubt. I mean, I think we all speak rather honestly about how we feel about the New York Mets. And what I find so funny about all of it is after the Mets went on that massive spending spree and after the Yankees have had say an undesirable season, the Yankees still managed to have a better year than them. And I think a little bit better hope for the immediate future because, in Queens, they're talking about possibly dealing the polar bear. We all know that previous franchise star Jacob deGrom healing from Tommy John, now with the Rangers. Met teammate Max Scherzer also out for the year. Zappy's boys have been crumbling. And it's just a reminder of how long the baseball season is because so many things come about in the month of September that you just don't see coming.
This team reminds me of the team, probably 4 or 5 years ago when they brought up Gary Sanchez and they brought up Aaron Judge and they had Todd Frazier when they were doing that.
Wow, good shout, Todd Frazier. Yeah,
but they played. The season was over for them, but they brought up all their young guys, and they were fun to watch. They were trying so hard. They were playing small ball. They're stealing bases. I mean, everybody was just having fun. And the Yankees for the 3 quarters of the season didn't even look like they were having fun. It
no,
looked like they were just,
it looked like an obligatory thing to get your 4 at bats. Guys,
keep it moving.
And you know, Zappy on his personal Facebook posted roughly the estimation with Jason Dominguez saying how he's going to be out for probably half of next year. And you know something, guys, in the grand scheme of things, not to make light of it, but the Yankees eat those kind of injuries, dude. I mean, name a pitcher not named Garrett Cole, and that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the season, you know, after the All-Star break is when everyone starts really putting it in high gear. So if we lose Dominguez until midway through the season, he's gone. You know, we can get him for the stretch run. You know,
I will say this, fellas. I am very pleased with how Oswaldo Cabrera is reclaiming his position in the organization after a lot of fans were saying, man, this guy's a bust. He ain't going to make it.
Here.
You know, and now he gets his second opportunity. Partly watching live from work. That's dope. My man Zach's actually bartending today, so playing the show at the restaurant. Appreciate the love, Zach. Enjoy the show.
Word.
And I hope your Chargers win today, buddy. I'm going to give you that.
Ooh, yeah.
Also, because I picked them in my money pool. But yeah, Yankees just gotta finish strong, whether that means playoffs or not. I think that's the ultimate point that I'm willing to bet the 3 of us agree on. High expectations, but you know, in baseball, sometimes you need to hit that wall and fall down in order for the organization to decipher, okay, Josh Donaldson, bye-bye, buddy.
Yeah.
When your most notable friggin' story is calling Tim Robinson Jackie, and your one cool moment is hitting a home run on my late father's birthday to win a game, I'm sorry. You need a little more of a highlight reel to keep the pinstripes on. I'm sorry.
The Robinson comment was just, come on, dude.
It was stupid. It's like we all know that Tim Anderson's an idiot, but when you make an idiot look smart, it
look like a genius.
Right? We all know what, like Tim Anderson with the Jose Ramirez thing.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
The knucklehead, but you just made him look like a.
Thank you. When it's like my grandfather used to say, 2 idiots arguing on the street, you can't tell the difference.
Exactly.
You already know. One thing. Go ahead, Shed.
One thing. The one reason I would advise the Yankees not to make the playoffs, because that's going to save Brian Cashman's job. That's going to save Booney's job, and everybody's going to overlook all of the terror we've endured the entire season. Like, they made the playoffs. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal anymore. It's not what have you done for me. It's what have you done for me lately.
Right.
So they're going to hang on to Booney. They're going to hang on to Cashman and completely forget about all this nonsense that's been going on all season. So that's one reason why I would say I hope they just don't make the playoffs, so then everybody can realize or just kind of wake up like, remember how much that sucked last year? Like, let's do something about it now.
I hear that end of it too, Shed. And I will say this, playoffs or not, whether we like it or not as fans, both those men are coming back. So the way I look at it is I'm going to hope for the best case scenario. I do feel good about a kid like Dominguez ultimately claiming center field. Left field, it's open for the taking for a guy like a Cabrera. Estevan Florio might, after having multiple opportunities, it looks like he might be in the future plans. My biggest thing that I've been an advocate for with these New York Yankees, I just want them to get younger. And I think at minimum, they are embracing that. And listen, I'm not no Carlos Rodon fan. I don't like how year one went, but he has already had a couple of signature moments that are showing that when healthy and when his back's not killing him, he can be an asset to this team. I don't think it's a total bust. And I'm going to have maybe a bit of a reach, a bit of an opinion on next year, one particular player from our past that we might bring back. Jordan Montgomery is a free agent. And with the Domingo Germán situation and with the Luis Severino situation, I don't think it's out of the question that we give Montgomery another look. It's always nice to add a lefty to your rotation.
Yeah, Sevy, man.
Yeah.
I think I want us to finish. I'm kind of with Shed on this because yes, if we get to the playoffs, they say, well, Booney did pretty good with this new lineup.
He certainly did. It has very little to do with him.
Yeah. I want us to still
Correct.
finish strong. You know, I don't want to be in last place. I want to look good, you know, going into the off season. But we have to move on from Cash and Booney, man. I mean,
well, let's see, fellas. What do we got? 17 left, 73 wins.
Yeah.
If we are to, let's say, hypothetically win all of them, and we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I would say best case scenario, which could get us into the playoffs, if we could finish 13-4 or 14-3 down the stretch, I think that might be just enough to sneak us in or get incredibly uncomfortably close to whoever did get in. But that's still a mid-80s season. And then when you think about the bullpen blunders, the not scoring runs when guys are pitching gems, it does ultimately add up to a little more forgivable. Not to mention that the best player in baseball missed the amount of time that he did. You know, so not that I'm absolving them from the many issues as fans that we know. I don't think the Yankees are going to be missing the playoffs or not hanging at the table, so to speak, for too long. And while we talk about that, keeping it on baseball for a moment, Shohei gone. You know, the oblique injury, shutting him down for the year, that's the responsible thing to do. Once again, I said it off air. I hate when the media makes something bigger than it is. Oh, he cleaned out his locker. Well, yeah, guys, when you leave somewhere, that's what you do.
That's what you do.
I mean, when you leave the YMCA and you go in the pool, do you leave your trunks there for 8 weeks? You know, not necessarily. I think they're making more of this than is necessary. We all know what's coming. It's free agency. And I don't necessarily think Ohtani leaves just because if the money is right and if he sees that the Angels have a vision to win, I'm not going to just totally assume he's out. The only thing that I'm kind of confident in is that he's not going to an East Coast team. It's not Boston. It's not either New York squad. If it's not in Cali, I could see the Pacific Northwest. I could see Seattle.
I agree 100% because and unlike a lot of sports like basketball, football, you know, when players are gone for the season, you know, football, basketball, they be in the street clothes, they're on the sidelines, you know, it's different than baseball. You know, him cleaning out his locker wasn't nothing. I mean, he's done for the season. I mean,
yeah, they're making too much out of that and acting like if there was some kind of meltdown or some kind of issue. I think it's a 50-50 because regardless of whatever offers he's going to get, it's not like the Angels can't pay him. The Angels have proven time and time again that they are willing to overpay players. We saw it with Rendon. We saw it with Mike Trout. You know, we saw it with Albert Pujols. It's not like they have a shortage of money and that they can't offer a comparable contract to what the Giants or the Dodgers could. You know, I think it's a matter of does Shohei think this team can win? And I believe that's really what it comes down to.
I think he's gone. I think he's done after the season. I think he's going to one of the other Cali teams, or like I said, maybe Seattle. It's closer to home, man. I mean, you come to the East Coast, getting home is a long flight.
Yeah, that's essentially what my mother just said here because she's been monitoring this situation too. I got to give my mom props because I have tuned out the Yankees for a couple of weeks just out of utter frustration and mental health. But she doesn't.
I've just been checking the standings, but I haven't been really. Yeah,
she doesn't miss a game. I gotta say that her and my stepdad, like they stick through it, no matter how annoying the baseball season could be for both New York teams. I gotta say they still watch the games, and it's not like I'm like some fair weather. It's just with football on the horizon, and with a brand of baseball that was literally messing with my mental health. I said I need to step away from these boys for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, same here. Like, I've been following, the box scores and everything else, keeping,
Same, Idris. Yeah.
I just had.
I'll listen on the ride home. It's not like.
Yeah.
It's not like I just disown them because they're having a shit year. Because
I did watch the Red Sox game, because
it always feels good to beat them.
Yeah, I can't miss them beating the Red Sox.
But I mean, even like. Yeah, but I mean, even like just coming home on the drive, I enjoy listening to games on the radio anyway.
Great on the radio.
And this bottom of the barrel kind of season is nothing compared to what I endured when I first became a Yankees fan. going to an empty Yankee Stadium with my dad. And usually the most action you would see is usually fights in the crowd.
The 80s and early 90s.
I distinctly remember, let's just say a Bronx native using a culinary tool to cut up a Red Sox jacket as feathers flew into right field. And my dad was like, "Damn it, man, I'm not on duty, but do I do something here?" And then I think my dad was also conflicted because he's like, this guy in the Red Sox jacket's a fucking asshole. Yeah. So I think he was also conflicted with that. But in the end, the dipshit got a Yankees hoodie to stay warm. No arrests were made. My pop was like, "Dude, just put that fucking knife away, please."
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a good job.
Yeah, so that was like one of my like, you know, that was one of my wholesome memories of the old Yankee Stadium. You know, they called it the Bronx Zoo for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, different times for sure. But Deion Sanders, fellas, my God, what he's doing in Colorado,
yeah,
it makes me, like, as a grown ass man, want to like go to the transfer portal.
Deion's awesome. I mean, he's a must-see TV. Like, he's just such an inspiration to those kids, and everybody wants to play for him now. I mean, he went to Jackson State and he transferred to Colorado and brought like all of his players with him and cleaned house in Colorado to make that culture his own. And all the kids are buying what he's selling, man, and they're showing up. I mean, it's really cool to see.
And to turn around an HBCU that had limited funding and to make them a viable opponent every day of the week, every practice, just every part of putting together a program, that's obviously what elevated him to the nice contract that Colorado gave him, which is well-deserved. But I got to say this, man. I got to say this about Deion. What I love about him, and I think sometimes people get the wrong scope of it and maybe they don't like it, I don't view him as a glory hog. He is very cocky, but it's well, because he knows how damn good he is, whether it's on the baseball field, whether it's on the football field, whether it's in the coaching ranks, when he was in the booth covering the sport. But ultimately with Deion, what I love is that he takes all the heat. He brings everything onto himself, where the kids go to the game plan, they're well prepared, but ultimately Coach Prime is not afraid to get into it with an interviewer who he doesn't think is respectful. He's not afraid to get into it with an opposing coach, but to keep it the center of attention on himself. Because one thing about following Deion's career, even with his early beginnings as a New York Yankee, simultaneous to being an Atlanta Falcon, we all know what he did with the Niners and the Cowboys, carving out the Hall of Fame career. He's always been that guy that the bigger the moment, the bigger the pressure, he doesn't run away from it. He wants the light on him. And I think in that regard, he's actually doing a great service to not just his children that play, but all the other kids. Because one thing about Coach Prime that I truly admire, being the son of someone who treated his players as such, is that they're all Deion's kids. And I have the utmost respect for that angle of what he's doing. And not to mention, you know, it isn't just some charade and it isn't just some thing for the cameras. Like, these guys are for real, bro. Like, with a couple of these teams getting knocked down and having rough weeks like a Tennessee or a Florida State, these boys are going to be in the top 10 very soon. And don't be surprised if they end up in the Bowl Championship Series.
Yeah, I was never really a big fan of Coach Prime. I mean, as a player, great player. I just wasn't too much into his, the ego thing with him.
Yeah, he's a hot dog, no question about it.
Yeah, but I always give him props. Yeah, but the thing about it with him now, I like him as a coach because, like I said, he takes the brunt of it, and you would think that now that he's on the big stage again, he would have this arrogance.
Right,
but he's not. He's more like, after the interviews, after the wins, he's not saying, "Yeah, we did this." He's like, "Look, we won." Blah 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 blah. Praise God that he's doing all his and say, "Yeah, I knew he was going to do that." He's not chirping.
Well, he's very humbled. He's very humbled in the sense of definitely having a relationship with God, and I do believe that on a lot of metrics, that's something that helped the latter part of his life, talking about after the sports, because you see it with a lot of jocks, even actors, people that were in a different economic place, but have dealt with all the other things that come with it, which is not always pretty. Fame is actually very expensive on the soul.
Yeah, like when he came into Colorado, when he had his press con, he told him, he said, "Look, I'm bringing in my own guys. I'm letting you know you want to transfer. I'm bringing." He brought in 88 new players. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Yeah.
You had so many kids that were running
like the whole freaking faculty. I mean,
yeah, man. You had so many kids that were running to the transfer portal, and to go left for a moment, I do want to make a shout out to our boy Zay Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. His oldest son today, Lorenzo, is actually playing soccer at Camping World Stadium.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're getting sponsored by City Kia. I think it's really awesome. Such a young player, but so mature for his years. I've had the pleasure of watching Lorenzo play a little bit during the course of the season, and obviously I'm not in attendance today, but I just wanted to say I wish you luck, kiddo, and very proud of you. And Zay, you're doing a great job, man. So proud of you as well, and I wish the best for him and all his teammates.
Yeah,
I want to make a mention of that.
Shouts out to Zay. I think this week, coming up with Oregon, they're going to be tested. I think with them, the defense has to tighten up because Oregon is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think with them, they were projected to win 3 games this year.
Yeah,
they already matched that out.
It's insane, dude.
It's already,
convincing fashion against TCU.
Yeah, and, that team was almost won the whole thing last year.
And this game last night, they were down with 49 seconds and went
showing grit.
Yeah, showed some grit. I mean, so I like what Coach Prime is doing. I'm not gonna jump on I got connections to Colorado because my cousin, that's where he played.
Yeah, sure.
More, yeah. So I'm not going to jump on the Colorado bandwagon. I'm LSU all day, but I support Coach Prime because as a black person myself, I like how he's changing the mindset of these kids. He's going to make them men. Look, you don't have to be this. Like he told them in the interview one time, he said, "Look, stop listening to what you hear on social media, and be a man. Do what you got to do." And that's what I hope in the end he makes these kids men. Because, in our community, we need more men. We need more responsible men. And if anything comes out of it, that's what I hope he brings to those kids in Colorado.
And in person, from personal level, like I had made mention of my father and other men like my father, it hits a chord with me because, at that age, I don't give a damn what your socioeconomic situation is. I don't care where you're from or who your dad is or who your dad isn't. Maybe you don't know him. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, all these kids deserve the best first shot. Yeah. And not everybody has the blessing of having, a full house, so to speak, where you're getting, what you essentially need from mom and dad, and my dad carved it in my brain at an early age, be thankful because not everybody has a father. Music makes me high. I like this comment here.
Yeah.
The Yankees died when George died. I do believe that to a level there is some validity to your comment. Because it's not always that George made the best decisions and all that other stuff. I think it has more to do with the sheer fact that
the heart.
Yeah, there was a certain attitude.
The culture. Yeah. It's the culture. The culture he brought.
No doubt, man.
You need to be proud to be a Yankee. That's why you can't, have the long facial hair. It's a business. Like you got to play like this. It's a privilege to play here.
Good shout here, man. Good shout here. Also, Colorado has a big test these next 2 weeks, Oregon at Eugene and USC if the wide receiver from Colorado State gave. That is a valid point. I tend to agree because I must admit that they did not play the cleanest game last night. So shout out Music Make Me High. I really enjoy your take here. And thank you for vibing with us watching the show.
Word.
Much appreciated.
Idris, I got a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean LSU? I thought you were a Cuse guy. They're 3-0, baby. They look good yesterday.
Don't get me wrong. I support LSU. I mean Syracuse. I do.
Come on.
I support, but I grew up an LSU fan. But I mean, I root for. Don't get me wrong. I root for. I root for Syracuse. Anyone knows me. I got my orange in there. I root for Syracuse all day. I root because that's the home state. I root.
That's what I'm saying. I thought you were Syracuse guy. Come on.
Yeah. That's just Shed. But right now you're breaking Brett's heart too.
I got.
Brett should be waking up any minute now. He likes to sleep in on Sundays.
Before I really got into college football, I got exposed to LSU as a toddler. I didn't know nothing about Syracuse until I was like I knew about Syracuse, but I didn't know anything sports wise until I was like maybe 13. I was like, oh shit, they got a team up there.
Speaking of Syracuse,
because I went to school in Plattsburgh, and I was like, oh wow, that's like wow. But by then I was already an LSU fan. But I support Syracuse all the way through. All right,
now, I can appreciate that.
I'm not picking a winner.
I will say this.
I can't do it. I can't.
Switching gears to baskets when we're talking about the collegiate level stuff.
Yeah.
I have a couple of teams, and I'm an Irish fan through and through. You're talking about getting exposed to LSU. For me, it was Rick Meyer, Rocket Ismail, those famous Notre Dame teams.
Yeah.
The Rocket was that dude in college. Other players that I took to, like Grant Irons, like old school. Before
Joe
me.
Montana.
Oh, yeah, before your time, yeah.
Yeah. Joe was definitely before my time. I mean, to be honest with you, his final 49er career as a starter is when I actually started watching football. When Leonard Marshall put him out. No, it's all good. But the point I'm making, the Fab Five, UNLV running Rebels, and I would have to say the Syracuse team with Melo.
Yeah.
In terms of NCAA basketball, they brought that extra. You know what I'm saying? And you can name quite a few Indiana teams with Bobby Knight, because similar to Coach Prime, he was the same kind of guy that usually put it on himself, where he was the guy always taking the punches. Coach Mike Krzyzewski did that, but maybe in a more classy way or a more reserved way.
More humble way, maybe. Yeah.
He was hard on his players, though. Coach K was hard on his players, though. He was no pushover.
I do agree with you here. I'm not a big Kelly guy, as you know. I'm a Notre Dame fan. He kind of left with everything other than the VCR in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
A la Art Modell. So, not my favorite. Not my favorite by any means. Want to hit you here with my NFL power rankings before we jump into the Sunday night football game. We've got – I'm going to let the viewers just scope it out. It's on a ticker, so it's going to come back around. But I got Shed's Boys actually as my number one team in football right now. And not that Dallas was any less impressive. I'm being humble and basically saying that from a player-for-player standpoint, I had a higher expectation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers and Giants are both better than they played in week one, and I think this week they both redeemed themselves. But when I think about the 49ers, I know it's only week two right now, but Brock Purdy keeps silencing the doubters that he can play, and he's not just some beneficiary of an all-star team. He makes the throws, and he and Brandon Ayuk have some chemistry right now. The defense can't say enough. Nick Bosa is a game wrecker. He is in.
And they got for Ayuk.
Yeah.
Ayuk is on fire. I heard that the other day. I died laughing, dude. I said, okay.
I didn't know which way you were going for a second.
Watch
I
out
thought
for him, man.
Like the Mortal Kombat route or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, as a matter of fact, I think Shed said it on a previous show, him being the resident 49er fan here, that he is the number one truly, where Debo is more like the complimentary piece. But the point is,
correct.
Both players can hurt you, and don't let George Kittle get healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have, obviously, Christian McCaffrey is the ultimate back. But, you get a little contribution from an Elijah Mitchell here and there. They're just Dre Greenlaw, one of the most underrated players in the league, overlooked players in the league. They are very, very good. I must admit. And while I do think the Rams aren't as bad as people thought, I said it on the preview show, I think the 49ers are put the smackdown on them today.
I think so too. They got a history.
They're playing at SoFi, and it's there's more 49er fans than Rams fans there.
No doubt.
I mean, it's seriously going to be another home game for them.
Yeah.
But the despite the Niners having the dominance over the Rams, don't just wipe the slate with them. I mean, I bet it's going to be closer than people think.
My uncle is here. Randy Rios. This is cool. How about them Raiders?
The Raiders.
Well, you and Shed could have fun with this. You know, Shed recently said goodbye to Jimmy G. I think you're liking him off the rip, Unc. The guy that I'm actually interested in, Uncle Randy, is your backup quarterback. I think he's going to be the guy that could be the right quarterback for your system. I am going to give you props on one thing, Unc. I was giving you a lot of shit in the offseason saying that your Raiders don't have that much talent on defense. I will admit that they are a little better than I gave them credit for. Having said that, I think you'll compete with Buffalo. Buffalo's defense is not as good as they were in previous years. It's going to be raining in Buffalo, but I think you catch your first loss today. Yeah. But, you know, I don't have any affiliation or love for your Raiders, but you are my guy. And as a child, I remember, bro, used to terrorize my uncle. Like him and my dad would be like drinking beers, pounding them down, watching the games. Yeah. And I would always just say that just piss him off, man, during the Raider games. Running around all crazy. You know, and as a super young guy, I remember when the Giants ultimately beat the 49ers. Prior to that, the Raiders got their doors blown off after. Here we go. He remembers.
The
week after Bo's career unfortunately ended. Yeah. But it's all love, Unc. You know damn well that I don't hate your Raiders. I do like having fun with you, though. Brett Bandick. Oh, he did wake up. Just win, baby. Yeah. I got to give Brett Uncle Randy's number, and they can rediscuss the tuck rule. True story, gents. During the 9/11 season Super Bowl, where the New England Patriots won their first one over your friend, Leonard Little, and the greatest show on turf, Rams. We were in the basement, you know, me, my uncle, my pops drinking, just reflecting on the season. And, you know, my dad kind of venting out just how all the overtime he was working, you know, after the aftermath of 9/11. And somehow this Raider Patriot game, which kind of sprung the Patriots into dynasty mode, got brought up. And, man, you know how some people, like if you're a Cowboy fan, you're convinced that they hate your owner. Or if you're a Patriot fan, they think they hate that the world is against Kraft. Or if you're a Yankee fan, everybody's out to get Steinbrenner. Back in the day,
that was true, though.
My uncle was on an authentic one about how everyone. Yeah, oh my God. But my uncle, man, let me tell you, a true fan. Like he was in MetLife a couple of years ago in his Raider gear. Always keeps it true with the Raiders, I gotta say, man. So like one of the best kind of fans that you'll ever find. And thanks for watching the show, Uncle Randy. It's awesome to see you out here. Well, there is nothing to understand, man. He's from the West Coast.
There's the Las Vegas Raiders now, anyway.
Yeah, and and to expand on some of his West Coast traits, you know, him and Pops were trying to cultivate in Grandma Nancy's tomato garden. That's another story for another day. Funny stories, though. I truly enjoy listening to my Uncle Randy just tell me stories about my father. Always a good laugh. And quite frankly, it just keeps my pops alive. So good shit. Dallas Cowboys, number 2. We already know what they did to us. I'm not going to revisit that beating. Miami Dolphins, offensively, Tua Tagovailoa early on, favorite for MVP. KC, they did not win, but you get to stay in the top 5 when you're the defending champion, and it's only week 2. On the back end, I got the Ravens and Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers defense has proven me right, that they're a lot better than people thought coming into the season, and I think as the year moves along, it's going to come to fruition and showing people that Jordan Love was the right choice, and he wasn't just sitting on the bench; he was soaking up everything he could from Aaron Rodgers.
That's the way to go. I'm cool because I think with the 49ers, they're complete, dude. I mean, I think Purdy came into a perfect situation, and he's actually making the best of it. He's just going to get better. The 49ers, they have him cheap too. I mean, so for the next few years, they don't have to pay this guy number pennies. So the 49ers they're in a great position, and even though they overdid it with draft capital with the whole Trey Lance experiment got wrong, when you're winning.
you can absorb a mistake like that. And quite frankly, the 49ers have been on the cusp of making a Super Bowl or winning one. They were in the 19 Bowl with Garoppolo.
Yeah.
What I find impressive about this team is that, similar to Green Bay, I mean, you have your iconic guys like the Steve Youngs, Montanas. You have your in-the-middle guys that were very good players like the Jeff Garcias, the Alex Smiths. CK7 had a short run, but a successful one. And now you have Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. You're like, holy shit, how'd they do that? The 49ers, similar to the Green Bay Packers, have been blessed at always being able to make it work at the quarterback position. And there's even other guys I probably didn't mention that did a little better than expected, like a Steve Bono or a Jim Druckenmiller. You know, like,
yeah. No, they didn't do very well.
Druckenmiller didn't do too well.
I know, but you know, it's fun.
Oh, I think with with the Trey Lance situation, my opinion, I think Frisco evened out because, like I said, they got Purdy, and Purdy was the last man in the draft, and he's doing what Trey Lance was supposed to do.
No doubt.
So I think, going forward, they still lose a few draft picks, but I think the 49ers, they kind of leveled out. The Chargers, and I'm gonna keep saying, like I said last year, I'm still not sold on them. Really? I'm still not sold on them. Nope.
Zach can't curse. He's at work right now.
I'm still not. I said it last year. I said, nope, they will not win a playoff game. I said it. They were like, no, you're crazy. You're hating on it. No, they will not win a playoff game because Justin Herbert is great to see. Like I said, I say this about Oregon quarterbacks. I say about Alabama quarterbacks. I say about
you keep it true with your consistent grade of them.
Those guys have a hard time adjusting to the NFL. They can run up the yard, do all this stuff, but when it counts, you can look at Marcus Mariota, another one. You can look at Dennis Dixon.
And he's on the higher spectrum of like he's okay, because even going back to that quarterback show and revisiting a lot of those Atlanta games, I was like, Mariota made some really bad mistakes at the wrong times, but they were in positions to win games. I actually like Mariota more so for the person he is.
Yeah, me too.
Not so much the quarterback that he never truly became, but I still think it's a quality backup in Philly should Jalen Hurts ever get injured.
I think Herbert will come into his own, but I'm just not sold on the Chargers myself. One thing because of the coach.
It's weird because he hit the ground running, one rookie of the year.
Is my concern.
Yeah, exactly.
Their defense.
I'm gonna give them a pass for week one for the sheer fact that Miami's that dynamic. I actually do think when healthy, the Chargers could play defense at a much higher level, but they got to show it. We know what it says on paper, but games aren't won on paper. You got to get it done. Patriots and Dolphins. Patriots and Dolphins. They're taking center stage as the national game tonight. Patriots will be donning their red jerseys. Brett hates those things because he's convinced that they're pretty dope.
The old school jerseys.
Those are the Steve Grogan jerseys, I call them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. John Hanna, old school.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, Brett's convinced that they're cursed whenever they wear the red. I remember revisiting Super Bowl 42 when Brett saw Belichick come out with the red cutoff. He's like, "Oh, we're fucked."
The Patriots got cursed as soon as Brett became a fan. Let's be honest.
Just keep it.
I like it.
To do with their jersey color.
I will go with that. I like it.
Just keep it real.
I like it.
When you go from Buffalo to New England,
correct.
That's like going from the Giants to the Cowboys or from the Eagles to the damn Redskins. I mean, whatever.
The Niners to the Seahawks. Like
you can't.
Green Bay to the Bears.
Oh, but speaking of Buffalo, I don't know if I ever made mention of this. Our guy Zay is a Buffalo fan.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Zay's a Buffalo fan, and it was funny. He was kidding with me at work the other day. He was like, "Bro, I was gonna roast you on social media after your boys took that kind of beating." He says, "But you know what? Let me hold off. We got to play in a few hours. Let me not say anything." So I avoided a bullet because of the fact that Buffalo, unfortunately, didn't get it done against Steve.
How does he feel about Josh Allen? Just curious.
I think that he takes the good with the bad, if I had to guess. But personally, I know there's a lot of Josh Allen hatred about all the turnovers, and he's on the list with guys that we all know are lesser than him at the quarterback position. I try to reiterate to people, Brett Favre turned the ball over a lot too, but he sure did score a lot of touchdowns.
Richie, what did I say in Jacksonville?
You take the good with the bad.
To some of the Giants fans, I said Josh Allen was Daniel Jones. Does Josh Allen happen to get a good
He was super
Courtney.
reckless pre-Brian Dable, and right now.
Brian, exactly.
But I think there's more to it than just that. I mean, you got to give the Jets defense a shit ton of credit.
They're brutal.
Oh, yeah. No, they're really good. As this game goes,
that's why they're going to be
New England showed me some testicular fortitude last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. I personally think New England should have won the game.
Yeah.
They more than had their opportunities. I think it's a reflection of two things. New England's not as bad as everybody thought coming in, and Philly's not as good as everybody thought coming in. Philly is 2-0, but in my opinion, they have not looked overly impressive, allowing two teams to get back into the games. JJ, if he just holds onto the ball, Minnesota likely wins despite the turnovers.
Yeah.
And if New England's rookie receiver learns how to put his feet down on a drag, then New England wins, and Philly's 0-2, and this is a different narrative. I did congratulate your cousin Idris after their victory.
I didn't.
You know what?
If I congratulate him, he's gonna text me like crazy, like.
Well, yeah. A busy man, he didn't exactly get right back to me, and that's okay too.
Oh, he will.
Because I'll be honest, like I didn't necessarily want him to. I did that on the class level thing of like, you know what? I hate your team, but I like you.
He know I feel the same way, but I can't do it with him because if I say anything.
Well, yeah, that's family stuff.
Wow.
Right there.
Look at Brett with his bold prediction, huh? 30-28 Pats.
I'm going to give you mine. I'll give you a quick one. I want to let you boys have an opportunity to talk.
Right.
I think the Patriots are going to stick around. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think Mac Jones might have one of his better games of the season, but unfortunately, I think in crunch time, because Shed said he's worried about the Charger defense. I'm worried about Miami's defense too. Yeah. I think the Patriots, like I said, are better than people realize, but talent wins, and Miami's more talented. I'm going to call for. Oh, you ready for me to flip this on Brett? Late in the game, I'm calling for an Eli Apple interception to ice it out.
That's one of them love-hate decisions he'll have to make.
Yeah.
He loves Eli Apple, but Eli plays for Miami.
Oh, he don't love Eli Apple. He loves being a ball breaker.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't agree with Brett. We never agree. But I'm rolling with Brett with this time.
You got the Pats pulling the upset, huh?
Pats pulling up. Just like I had them beating the Eagles last week when they should have beat the Eagles. I'm with you, Brett.
Interesting.
You still ain't shit though.
Okay, I'm going to overtime final here. It's actually going to be a very entertaining game. One of the better games of the week, in my opinion. I'm going 33-26, Miami Dolphins in overtime. It will not be an Eli Apple pick six. Eli Apple's interception will propel the Dolphins to victory. It's going to be quick. It's going to be like a play after that, Tua to Mr. Hill in the corner.
Eli's hands in the Juju's hands. Touchdown.
Hey, that's possible too, and I'll take it because Juju is on my fantasy team, and I am starting his ass today. Shed, what's your final on this thing?
28-27 Miami.
So we all agree that the Patriots are not as bad as projected coming in.
Their defense is legit, and New England, their game plan, in my opinion, is going to be to run the ball and keep Tua off the field.
Yeah.
And I think they're coming. And New England's a run first team anyway, and they're a very good running team.
Yeah,
I agree.
And their secondary is decent. And I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Waddle and Tyreek. But you keep them off the field. You just get your throw your punches and hopefully get to Tua. It'll be a closer game, but I do think Miami still squeaks it out.
And I'll just be honest. I'm pulling for the Pats because the God's honest truth, I really don't like Miami's head coach. I have not quite
shame on you
forgiven him. I know where he's from and I know what he's capable of, but I'm pissed off with that organization going back to last year.
Yeah.
I don't care for Stephen Ross either, even going back to the Flores thing. There's a lot of things I don't like about this Miami Dolphins organization. I respect Tua. I got nothing but respect for him. I do like Raheem Mostert quite a bit. But I don't like the way they handled that concussion protocol thing, and I think they were putting a young man at serious risk. And if I'm that guy's parents, I will never forget that. So I do take issue with the bullshit that they did. So, yeah, I'm rooting for the Pats tonight. I said it. Randy Rios. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he hates the
Destroying
Patriots. You got to understand, he absolutely hates the Patriots.
I like your Uncle Randy.
Ivan Hidalgo, my man, come on, don't hurt Brett's feelings. Be nice to his Patriots, or you won't be able to go to any Magic games with Brett anymore. And Brett does have the hookup for the Magic, I must admit. Oh, that shit's funny.
Oh,
Ivan, thanks for watching the show, buddy. We got to link up sooner than later, man. Always a good conversation with sports. Got to come to the crib one day, Ivan.
Oh, so you do have the Patriots beating Miami?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm rooting for the Patriots. They're not winning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got Miami by 6 in OT. I had actually put it on the IG page for my finals because I do a show and then I'm like, I know Zappy. He himself made mention that there were a couple of games that he was considering flipping on. One, I'll speak on his behalf. He feels that the Atlanta Falcons are going to beat the Green Bay Packers. I don't agree with him.
I agree with him too.
That's two of them.
I took Green Bay.
Okay,
Bijan's gonna have a good day.
I can't speak for Brett, but I have a feeling he's going to take Atlanta. Maybe he'll comment on that. My final thought here, gents, keeping it in the AFC East. Life after the AR8 injury. If this would have happened to the Jets last year, I don't think they'd be able to recover. But I do think that a training camp, a lot of good camaraderie, and I do believe that as a professional, Zach Wilson has actually matured under the watchful eye of Aaron Rodgers, as well as Coach Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett. I know that there's a lot of controversy. Zappy made a great point about Rodgers not being pleased with the blocking schemes that they brought in with the Jets. Unfortunately, he got hurt. It's reopening a conversation about grass versus turf. Listen, dude, the man's old. That could have happened to anyone in any stadium. I'm going to leave it there. I am in favor of all grass because the numbers don't lie, but I'm not going to blame the injury on that.
I am, Richie. Remember when the Niners played they played at New York, the Giants, and they played at the Jets. Within 3 weeks, a couple of years ago, Nick Bosa tore his ACL.
Yeah,
I do remember that. Yes.
Armstead, we lost Solomon Thomas to a torn ACL.
Yeah.
We had I can't remember, someone sprained their ankle.
There
was like 5 or 6 injuries.
Yeah.
In those 2 games, honestly, because of the artificial.
I think we lost two receivers in one game.
I'm all for that.
The game against the Chargers.
I think it was, but I know we lost.
That was back
in one game.
Yeah, I remember we lost Beckham, Cruz. Yeah, everybody got hurt in that game.
Brandon Marshall. Yeah, we got. Yeah, everybody.
Equipment manager got hurt in that game too.
Yeah.
No, but for real, my take on the Jets is number one. I don't think it's out of the question that Aaron Rodgers can't play again this year. No, everybody heals differently. I had that injury. I came back rather quickly, and I don't play football, of course. But the thing is, I do think that a second round playoff game, best case scenario, could be a return for him. I think with the dual running threat of Breece Hall as well as Dalvin Cook, and in my opinion, a top 5 defense that's only going to continue to compete, I think the Jets have just enough on offense. Let's not forget, guys, Garrett Wilson did win the Rookie of the Year with 3 different quarterbacks that none of them were playing at a high level. I think that Zach Wilson, not great, but adequate. And I do believe that the Jets are still going to make the playoffs. Shut up, Bob Calabrese, in that quarterback room.
Well, let me ask you two a question. Let's just say Zach Wilson comes in here, plays lights out. They go, let's say 11-6.
Okay.
Do you bring Rodgers in?
It would literally have to be lights out on the level of what a Tom Brady did back in 2001 or what a Brock Purdy did more recently.
Let's say.
Or a Dak when Romo was healthy, but they stuck with Dak. It would have to be.
Say he balls out. Do you bring Rodgers in and say, okay, we're going to get a ball of Rodgers to play through the playoffs? Or do you say,
no, you keep Zach?
I'll be honest, bro. It is hard for me to envision a scenario where he plays that well that the legendary Rodgers, if available, won't be back in. I think a best case scenario for Wilson is he plays adequate. He plays within the system. I still think this team could win 10 or more. And I'm going to be honest with you, dude. It was painful to watch parts of that game, but they have some guts. I have to give them that. They do have some guts.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Robert Saleh, if he gets this team to the playoffs, Coach of the Year is staying in MetLife Stadium.
Just to win a day. You know why? The last 2 times the Jets and Giants played the Cowboys in the same year.
I want to believe you.
The last 2 times the Jets and Giants played the Cowboys in the same year, the Jets won both games.
To my recollection, the Jets are enjoying.
That's why I got on green today.
The Jets are enjoying a 4-game winning streak against Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll be honest, in Big D, the way the Cowboys are playing right now, I got the Jets competing, but getting beat 27-17.
It's going to be ground and pound.
I'm rooting for the Jets today. I just don't see it happening. I think both defenses will show up, but at the end of the day, Dallas just has a little more working for them on offense. And Dak Prescott basically had a week off. He didn't have to do much on offense last week.
And that might be why they lose.
He only threw for 39 more yards than
31-20 Dolphins. Yeah, Zappy did change his pick. I remember he spoke to me about that. Yeah, he's got the Falcons over the Pack. I disagree with him, but I do agree with him that the Dolphins are winning.
Pats and Falcons.
I want to read this really quick, gentlemen. We got 10 minutes. This will take maybe 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
I put this, shout out Keith Woolridge and all the folks in
Big East
of the East. You might have already seen this post, Idris. Just bear with me. I got to find it 1 second.
I hadn't been in about a week.
Okay, so maybe not. But I had fun with this post. It's not about talking shit to the other fan bases because we're not in a position to talk shit right now. It's more about just my pride of being a Giant fan, and I want to read some of this to you. M. Lynn Tunnell, first African American player inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi started their coaching careers as assistants here before having great success and multiple championships in Dallas and Green Bay, respectively. Wellington Mara, his nickname the Duke, is on every game issued NFL football. 9-7, not the record of what you would assume would be champs, but in 2011, that's just what they were. 18-1, the record of a stunned 07 Patriot team after coming up short of being the greatest NFL team of all time. Homer Jones, in addition to being a phenomenal wide receiver in his era, also the first player to spike the football in the end zone. The Gatorade Shower, born in 1986. We started after winning our first Super Bowl. Eli Manning.
Tunnel right here.
Oh, you busted it out. Eli Manning, the only player in league history to beat a 15-1 and 18-0 team in the postseason. His 2 playoff victories as a visitor in Lambeau are the most. The only player to lead a 9-win team to a Super Bowl. This isn't about bragging, just a reminder to my Giants fan base that has been very negative, that we're pretty iconic in our own right. And a 40-0 ass whooping at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys and losing 3 times last year to the Philadelphia Eagles, who I coined phrase, the most recency-biased fan base in the league, whose team isn't even the most successful in their home state. That would be the Steelers. That doesn't change our place in history. Giants, today, tomorrow, always.
Oh,
right.
Nice post.
I don't know if you mean that, but I liked it.
Of course you did.
Who wrote that?
Of course you did.
That was me.
A big smile on your face. Look at you.
Dude, I'm looking for sources of positivity. When you get railroaded like the way the Dallas Cowboys did to us, you just got to
Zappy.
Zappy. You did.
He's trying to get you two fired up.
But you know something about that?
All good. It's all good.
We have to beat them today because if we don't, our season is over.
Yes, sir.
We have a division loss already. And now
we get to play his team. We get to play his team Thursday night. I wish Shed lived closer. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be all about it, man.
Go catch a quick flight out there and maybe go hang in the basement, watch the game.
Damn right.
About Spider Lockhart, former Giant, also went to Green Bay.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There was a flurry of players that wanted to be with Lombardi because Lombardi his first football roots were actually with the New York Giants. Same for Tom Landry, and they started their own great winning cultures in Dallas and Green Bay, respectively. Boys, this was a good show, man. I had a good time with this. Shout out everybody contributing on here and hanging. Uncle Randy, you're awesome.
That's our resident 49er fan. What's your prediction for your game today?
We talking about
Giants, Cardinals? Oh,
No,
49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Shed.
Yeah.
31-24, Niners.
What did I say? I'm not
I'm
going.
saying even I'm close. I'm saying 34-21 Niners. I think it'll be a little bit more. I think
My original prediction was 37-27 Niners. I said there's no way the Rams are scoring 27.
That was what I'm struggling with. It's hard to score on the Niners defense, especially with
I'm saying 21 is their max. 34-21 Niners. They may not get 21.
I am going 37 49ers, 20 Rams, and the New York Giants are putting up 26 and only giving up 13. O'Shane Ximines promoted from the practice squad in the absence of Azeez Ojulari. But the guy that's going to show out today, or at least I hope so, is the guy with revenge on the brain. I think Isaiah Simmons is going to go off in his.
Yeah. Ojulari, man, golly, that guy, he can't stay healthy, dude. He's such a good lineman. He can't stay healthy. Dang. But I'm glad we brought X up. He knows the system, and he knows what Dable expects. So, but we got to win today. We got to.
Yeah, I mean, you guys you got your backs against the wall a little bit already. To be honest, I mean, you have a tough schedule too, so that doesn't help. So you got to win the games you're supposed to win, which is tonight or today.
We got to win today. We got to win today.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's like anything else. You got to get the bad taste out of your mouth. Going in and looking at our schedule, 2-2 was a very real possibility even before we got our doors blown off 40-0. I do believe that we could beat Seattle at home week 4. And I'm not expecting a victory against Shed's 49ers. I'm trying to be honest and humble.
Yeah.
But can we compete if we're playing better? That's what I want to see. I want to see us fight.
Yeah.
I want to see us elevate our gameplay because we are playing an elite team. And if I feel that the New York Giants – because sometimes losses make you better. It's not just about the good times. The 49ers are where we want to be. The Cowboys are where we want to be, in terms of closer.
Dable will have you guys ready to play. Dable will have you ready to play today.
I will say this. I was very critical of his failure during that game. I feel they folded after the blocked field goal, but I do believe that they're going to – today, I'm not taking anything of it if we don't win by 10 or more. But I will say this, we will show up in a much bigger fashion against the 49ers. I got the Giants 2-2 going into October, and that gives us the remainder of the season to play better than 500 ball.
Yeah. Same here. Dallas and the 49ers
they're the class of the conference right now, and I understand that the Eagles are 2-0, and I understand that the Eagles are the defending NFC champions. But right now, they are not better than either one of the teams that we just mentioned. No. Those two teams are the most likely to represent the conference in the Super Bowl, and it could be round 3 this time in a later round. That's how I'm seeing it. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was round 1, or 2 years ago. Last year, it was round 2. This year, you might get that meeting in round 3. Yeah. But barring mass injuries to some of the key players, I think that's the collision course. And I don't really have an opinion yet. It's too early for me to – it go either way. But it's going to be fun. And, it's like revisiting the 90s yet again. NFC East is back. Cowboys and 49ers are both in an elite place. Mm-hmm. And I still hold true to my guns. The Dallas Cowboys have to make an NFC title game.
Yeah.
If not, they move on from Dak. Zappy talked to me off air. I do tend to agree with him. Mike McCarthy is safe. Dak, not so much. Dak has to prove it. Dan Quinn is awesome. You got to hold on to that guy.
I think there'll be a competition. If they let's say that the Cowboys get knocked out in the first or second round, I don't think they're going to get rid of Dak. I will say that they're going to make an open quarterback competition going into next year with the signing of Trey Lance and even with Cooper Rush. Like that's not Dak's job. He's got to win the job. He's got to earn the job at that point. He's not the claimed starter at that point.
I got one player in my mind. I got one particular veteran player in my mind.
Yep.
And it's more like a hypothetical.
Me?
I don't think Wentz is getting him there.
Oh.
If the Dallas Cowboys can acquire a guy like a Matthew Stafford, a guy who has already proven that he won on the grand stage, would they do it as a stopgap to win the Super Bowl if they feel that Dak just isn't that dude? I might be overreacting. It's just a
from Texas. You know, he's
just a thought. Enjoy your football Sunday, everyone. A lot of good games. I'm about to hit the grocery store and get in my mode. I'm happy my team doesn't play at least for 3 hours. So
yeah,
kind of
I got to
cool
go
it
to
out.
work, but I'm going to the store get some stuff.
No doubt. For the guys, Mr. Ryan Shedd, Mr. Idris Salam, I am your host, Richie. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with us. We will be back with an announcement. We haven't decided if we're going Wednesday morning or Wednesday night, but we are going to be doing our preview show on Wednesday. Announcement to come. Have a great day, everyone.
Yep.
Later, guys.
Go Giants.